Alright, welcome in friends and fiends, welcome back. We're gonna jump in and do the solo RPG thing. We're gonna talk a little bit about what happened in the last session, which took a bit of a turn, and then we'll move on from there. Alright, I really want to get to the combat because we're going right into that, so let's just start with what happened real quick. I'm just session notes up. Our last one. Alright, oh, nope, that's the wrong session. Here we go. Alright, Spring Mother 41. We have, the group has arrived at White Birch Inn. In the previous situation, Cristoff had gotten into some interesting gambling issues, let's put it that way. And they had finally extricated him from that and moved him upstairs along with Gertrudt and Reed, where we had a bit of a talk about the conduct, about trying to keep a low profile, and making people upset in the inn over gambling is not the way to do that. So they had a meeting. They were like, all right, well, the two of us who have not made a scene are going to go downstairs and see if we can get a little bit of information. So Gertrude gave us a little history check, and they learned that, hey, there's this creature lair that's nearby, which is our classic kind of dungeon that's in the area, looking at the text map, because we're just trying to figure out stuff that's in the area that we're going to go to, so that way we're not caught unawares. But, I mean, we're mostly going to end up caught unawares. Also learned about a hazard that's in the area, and her rumor check was a failure, so she didn't really get any information when she was down in the common room, in the tap room, talking to people. Reed was pretty successful. He learned about the places, learned about issues with the place that we called Borderland, which is the hamlet that's on the border. Markaheimas is what we've renamed it, which literally just means like the March Hamlet. So it exactly means Borderland. And we learned that the NPC we were talking to is a charlatan pretending to be a traveling knife maker, so like a journeyman knife maker, but appears to maybe not be a professional gilder, so maybe kind of doing that on the down low. Learn a little bit about them and see if they were give us a little bit more. It wasn't inclined to give us too much information, or to join them for dinner where they could kind of press them for more information. And we learned a little bit more about the creature lair. We asked, is it a complex, which is going to be important. There are three archetypal types of dungeons that I use. There are complexes, which are places where where generally humanoid creatures live and or work. So those are going to be places like settlements or mines or castles, those kinds of places. There are natural structures, which could be woods, those could be caves, caverns, etc. And the third one are sort of weird places, or natural structures also include things like dead gods' bodies and like in the bellies of beasts and stuff like that. Those are all included in natural structures. And third one is vaults, and vaults are places that there are two types of vaults. There are prisons, and then there are vaults. The vaults keep things on the inside safe from the stuff on the outside. Prisons keep stuff on the outside safe from stuff that's inside the prison. So we found out that this place was not a complex, it's a natural structure, and we decided it's sort of a shallow lake that's filled with oozes, high bars with shoals in it, and deep trenches, making travel across it extremely slow and dangerous, because there's a lot of that stuff that's kind of hidden under the surface. They reconvene and share what they learned. Reed tells the group about the charlatan. We realize that they could be a useful contact in the future, but we have to track them down again. But we might run across them randomly. We also saw that the Windwalkers left the inn, but no, they should still be in the area based off of what Cristoff had learned from them. They are sort of the vanguard of more Windwalkers who are moving their way south for the summer into sort of the colder, what would traditionally be the colder areas during the summer, and then once it starts getting into autumn, they will move north again, back into the warmer areas. As of right now, we don't know where they went, and we don't know why. So the group assembles for dinner downstairs. They split up and take on some different places. They learn about the Pink River. They primarily want to know like where the outflow is because they bought this boat, so they want to be able to use the boat, and that'll make traveling a lot easier. Reed does a pretty good job of hiding his personage, but really doesn't do a lot about making up. Doesn't really get any more information. He's more concerned about keeping his personage secret. So that gave him advantage on his sort of stealth or deception, but meant that he had disadvantage on actually gathering any rumors. But did see that there were, hey, there's some people here that are obviously, seems like they are obviously looking for Reed. We will later learn those are the bounty hunters. So he blows the horn of silent alarm to note Cristoff and heads up to their room. So that way he's not in the common room anymore. Gertrudt found out some stuff about some conflict area in the treasure room that's relatively nearby, and knows that is good verified info using her insight checks and her knowledge of the area already. The things we might run into, I've noted those down on the map. I did a little work on the map in one of our previous sessions, that non-solo RPG session, just to kind of get that ready. Cristoff found out where the river outflow is for the northwest, and we placed that on the map as well. And the group met back in their inn. The coast is clear outside, and they should be able to climb down the ground and escape into the woods if they needed to. Gertrude strengthened the door. Reed packed up the gear. Cristoff hopped out of the window already and ran around to the stables trying to get their stuff. And unfortunately, when he found out that there was one of these bandit sentries out there, one of these bounty hunters that was out there making sure that people don't checking out people who come to the stable, he snuck up and was able to knock him out. He did find a dagger and a note offering 20 platinum, so 200 gold, for Reed's delivery to Yorg's Island, which is an island in the middle of Green Lake, which is a weird meeting spot, but is very sort of like neutral, out of the way place, kind of isolated. It also says that they are asking for Reed dead or alive. That's not great, so that's total danger. We had Cristoff, who really struggled to get donkeys out of the stable, and was forced to kind of leave their boat or canoe behind. Gertrude and Reed decided to climb out the window moments after the bandits were kicked down the door, and saw them running for the tree line out behind the inn, and started shooting at them. Gertrude took a crossbow bolt in the back, and the group were able to meet up as they passed through the tree line. So they knew that they sat down and they regrouped, and they were like, all right, we're going to have a few minutes. These people are running down out of the inn, and they're going to gather themselves. They're going to probably grab their third person who Cristoff knocked out and head in their direction. So he knows that they have about, we kind of rolled for it. I think we rolled for it. And it said that, or estimated that they had about 15 minutes of prep time before the three bandits are going to arrive at their location. Remembering that one of those bandits will only have one hit point because it's the one that Cristoff KO'd. So they're going to stabilize and come back with one hit point. So it's dusk. The last of the sunlight is dying. And those long shadows are starting to swallow the scene. Those shadows start to lengthen. The bandits are coming out, searching for them now in this failing light. And that is where we're going to pick up things. So, in the 15 minutes before the bandits arrived, we determined that Gertrude was gearing up the donkeys, put all the tack and stuff on them. And Cristoff was going to don his armor, which is going to take him a few minutes to kind of wiggle his way into his chainmail. What we haven't determined is exactly what Reed is going to do. So I think we're going to go ahead and, at this point, pop over. You know what? Let's do... Try this. Yeah, okay. Put there. Okay. We'll make that fit. That is where we're picking up this session. So Gertrude geared up the donkeys. Cristoff donned his armor and wanted something for Reed to do. So that took me a few minutes to try to think about, okay, what is something that Reed might be doing in this time? And I had a few things about it. I was like, he could just go run and hide. He's not the greatest at hiding when we look at his stats, but he is okay at it. Not trained in it. I mean, he gets a +1. And it's in a flaming light, which means he'll attempts to probably find him or probably gonna have disadvantage. But he's not super good at that. So I was thinking of some other things he could do. Then I was thinking about, oh well, they have some of the gear with them. They pulled off with the donkeys that Cristoff had just kind of thrown over the back. Hasn't really had time to sort of like organize it in a Teamster style for travel. So it's not all on the down and stuff, but we have like some big sacks and stuff like that. I was like, well, one of the things that he could do is maybe, because we know that they're going to set an ambush, essentially. Because we know one of the issues is that they can try to run, but they've got these pack mules, pack donkeys with them. Presumably these people are going to be okay at tracking them. It's really unlikely that they're going to be able to get away from these. They're just not good enough. The group's just not good enough in the ways that they do wilderness to be able to throw, and they don't have things like pass without trace and stuff like that to throw them off their scent. So they thought the best thing to do was they assume that the bandits or bounty hunters will think that they are running. And I think that is a very reasonable assumption, is that they saw these people flee into the woods. The assumption is they would continue fleeing. Now, instead what they're going to do is they're going to set an ambush, so hopefully grab them using surprise as their main leverage and try to take at least one or two of them out before combat kind of starts in earnest. And so I think what Reed's going to do, because my thought is that he's going to attempt a little bit of deception, I think. Again, he's not very good at this, but he really doesn't have anything else to do. And hiding only takes an action, so they're going to have 6 seconds, so I'm not necessarily worried about that aspect of it. They don't have any way to construct a better hiding place. So I think what Reed's going to do is he's going to remove the crossbow bolt from Gertrudt that she's got in her back and take her cloak. Okay, Gertrudt, hold still. He'll kind of work with the donkeys. This is going to probably hurt a lot. He's going to reach like this, but it's like he's tiny. So he's like reaching way up here to try to pull this crossbow out of her. I'm gonna remove this, and if I could have your cloak too. I think this 2, 1. And he's going to jerk this crossbow bolt out of her back. He's going to take her cloak, and he's going to grab a few of these like grain sacks that they have off the back of the donkeys and throw it down in the underbrush where it's kind of covered over by some of the small shrubbery that's in there and the low-lying like smaller trees and wildflowers and stuff in the undergrowth. And he's going to throw the cloak back over it and stick the crossbow bolt into it to make it seem like she got shot in the back and then she did expire here. And so give them something to look for. And then I think he's going to take like the reins of the donkeys and kind of like pin them underneath the cloak as if her dead hand is still holding on to it. Her dead claw is still holding on to him, and letting everybody else hide. But obscuring her like under enough undergrowth that it's clear, like, oh, that because she doesn't wear boots, so they can't just like put boots sticking out from it or something like that. So trying to obscure it in a way to be like, it looks like a vaguely humanoid form until they get up onto it, and then it's going to be very clear that it's not a person. So he's going to attempt some subterfuge. Create a big body of... Because I know she's the only person that got hit, I think, right? No, Reed got hit too. Yeah, Reed got hit and got healed. So we're out of heals. We really need this surprise round to work very, very well. We're gonna create this fake body, Gertrude, and then everybody's gonna take an opportunity, and that's pretty much all. So everybody got like one long action of things that they can do, and then hiding. All right, so then everybody's gonna do a little hide check. Now some of them are gonna do really, really well, but we'll start with Reed. Reed, all right, first rolls here. I need. I guess we go to. All right, first roll's down here. All right, Reed's hide check. Woo-hoo-hoo, natural 20, baby. Oh, it's a good time for that. I wish it was on the attack, but I'll take a stealth check. I'll take a stealth check all day. He has +1 to that. So, Reed, getting a 21. And you know what? While we're here, let's just go ahead and roll initiative for everybody. That's what we're going to be doing anyways. Let's go ahead and get his initiative. The pendulum swings from one end to the other. And we go natural 20, natural 1. All right. He's so hidden. He's so tactical, so late. All right. Reed with the fat 2 is going to be right there. Perfect. Love to see it. Okay. All right. Let's do Gertrude. Leaving Cristoff for last. Yeah, I don't think she's going to have anything that I would say that she would use guidance on herself. I think that's a reasonable assumption. I think she has enough time. She's going to have 12 seconds, I feel like, to hide. Does she have... Okay. Yes. Yes, and I have a follow-up question. Okay. All right, her hide check's a 4. For whatever reason, even though she is the one who's probably dressed the most like in the most sort of natural hues, being a druid, apparently she sticks out like a sore thumb. I mean, she is a big lavender scaled person. I guess it makes it just, it is a little weird. She seems like she should be the one who is most camouflaged. Now, I did have a follow-up question, and we're just going to ask the Oracle real quick. And I'm going to say this is 50-50. Does she have enough of an action to do one more thing? Yes. Great. What she's going to do is she is going to use the alchemy jug. And she will produce oil in it. If all else, if all else fails, we got to do this real low-tech, low-level character style. All else fails, we'll try to set these guys on fire. Spill oil all over one of them and light them on fire. All right. So we got that, Gertrude. And she... Alchemy jug. Full of oil. Which makes a few pints. I think this is alchemy jug blue. Do I remember correctly? How much does this actually make? A quart. Okay. And a quart's 2 pints? So 2 pints of oil. It's weird because the oils generally in D&D is measured in pints, so it's weird that instead of you say quart instead of 2 pints, even though they're the same thing. That's fine. Two pints. All right. So we're on the string of bad rolls, but let's see if we can roll a little bit better for her initiative. We cannot. She's going on it too. Oh boy. And technically she goes after Reed. Reed has a better dexterity modifier. All right, Cristoff. Hey, man. The weight is on your shoulders. You're gonna have to keep this up now. I guess technically she could have given somebody the help action. Unfortunately, he just does not need it. Cristoff's already going to get it from his hide and natural light obscurement. Gives him... I mean, he was getting the benefit of obscurement anyways. Since he has double obscurement, double light obscurement, I think that I would rule that as heavy obscurement, which is great, which means that he's basically impossible to see. Which is fantastic, which means that he will have advantage on his side check. Take that. All right, so that's 15 plus stealth, which he's not trained in. Oh, that's right, he has disadvantage on it because of his armor. So that's instead going to be a straight roll. Roll again. Ugh. Okay. So we're hiding, but we're not doing the greatest job in the world. That's a flat 10. Okay. Heavy armor. All right, so could be going better. Could be better. Now, luckily, they have disadvantage on their checks to see it, which I'm going to assume they do their passive perception because they are actively looking. Yeah, because we rolled against them, so it's really going to be about them. Yeah, it's really going to be... We roll for our character, so it makes sense to use their passive perception. It's not really contested. That is an ongoing thing that they are doing. Now, I need to remember, we have healing potion. Everybody has one healing potion. And we have not used them. I've been holding them in reserve, but we will probably need them in this conflagration. All right. Initiative time. Okay. All right. Here we go. All right, Cristoff. You got this. You can do it. Gertrudt could give... Then she had enough action to do another action, so presumably she would have enough to do a bonus action as well. Maybe that's finagly, but I'm going to let it happen. And so she will use a bonus action to give him advantage on his initiative. Because initiative is an ability check. If needed it, not that it makes a ton of a difference. So 13. Okay. So we're sitting at 13. Fine. But at least he's going to go before the bandits. Nice. Alright, the bandits. Passive perception is 10. Now they're in low light, so they get a negative to that. Presumably. True, we don't actually know what type of creatures they are. We haven't determined that. So we need to determine if they're going to have low light vision. If they have low light vision, then they'll be okay with their 10. This is very important. Actually, it's not that important now that I think about it, because our hide checks are so neutral. It really only matters for Cristoff, because even if they're at a 10 and they have a -5 from having disadvantage on perception, they're still going to see Gertrudt. Gertrud's just seen, which I think will flavor as she uses the magic of the alchemy jar. There is like a bit of a light effect that comes off of that, and so it is going to draw their attention. But really, it's going to be up to Cristoff, because we know Reed's going to be fine. All right, this is what happened. So we see the bandits are stalking in that direction. They don't have any light sources out. They've got their crossbows out at this point in the dim light, because they're rushing. Presumably they don't have like their full pack of stuff with them. They're moving and they're stalking towards tree line. Let's find out as they get closer Cristoff's gonna have those eyes, the eagle on, where he gets advantage and he can see minute details, and he's gonna enhance, enhance, enhance. He's gonna zoom in, and let's find out what kind of creatures these are. It's going to be very important. We'll just go down the line, so we'll have ABC. Let's do. We need to go up to here. And we'll have to figure. This standard area of the. There we go. Okay. So 49. All right. So one's a half elf. A's a half elf. Second one's a tiefling. Another half elf. So 2 half elves and tiefling, all which have dark vision. Now, at this point, they're a little bit further away. So I don't think they're within the realm, because I was thinking that they were about 30 meters away. So they are outside of that. Yeah, so they definitely have disadvantage on their. So if we want to do anything before they start approaching the tree line, we also have cover, which gives us a little bit of a boon. Oh, that's true. We do have. Oh, it won't matter. It won't matter because Cristoff has Mask of the Wild. He's not going to be seen anyways. They, no matter what, are going to have disadvantage to seeing him. So it did not matter. But we can right down there real quick. We had A. Half elf. We'll assume that A is the one that's in charge. Tiefling. C. So I'm trying to remember. I can't remember if we. I don't think we rolled for the first bandit outside the stables. They are. Why don't you say tiefling? I think I'm just making that up. All right, so they're stalking. This is basically the one moment in case we want to do something before they arrive here. Now, we do have some people that have ranged, but if we use range, we're going to lose any of the surprise we were going to have. Now, luckily, we're in the tree, so we're going to have some cover. Gives us a nice little, like, you know what? I'm going to roll a d6. So, it'll be... No, we'll do, like, a d10. We'll do an 80-20. So, if I roll a 9 or a 10, we're going to have 3/4 cover. If I roll 1 through 8, we're going to have half cover. High number, come on. Okay, so we have half cover. So, +2 to AC and dex save. Hey. You know, I'm not gonna throw that out. We're gonna give you everybody's got half cover right now. So they've got bows out. So it's not a terrible idea to do something. And it is Cristoff's turn. Cristoff right now is the only one that we know is gonna be. So Cristoff and Reed are gonna be real good at that. They're good with their hide checks. So they are they're hit. So Cristoff could shoot off his bow. I don't think Reed has any. He has no ranged. If we knock out one of these people, we're definitely going to be taking their crossbow. Definitely going to be doing that. I mean, he could throw the dagger, but they're definitely outside of dagger range right now. Okay. I think Cristoff is like, I could shoot, but I'm really good in cover. So I don't think that he's going to. I think he's going to basically ready his action or when one of these guys gets within range of him or kind of gets past him, so that way he can pop up behind them and kind of surround them, ideally surround them. But if one of them gets real close to him, he's going to pop out and give him the old stabby stab. So he's going to use his attack action. That is going to be, well, I guess you only get one attack on that, right? You don't get a full attack action. Right? Actually, I'm trying to think. I'm not sure if this has ever actually come up. I'm sure it has. I feel like laying traps is such a low level, dropping ambushes is such a low level D&D thing. Where hit points are a lot more important, so being able to strike first is so much more important. Yeah, I'm gonna say he only gets the one attack, because it's like an opportunity attack. He's gonna ready his longsword. That's the bandits. So the bandits are gonna come in. And the bandits are gonna miss the first two, but or I guess let's just ask the question, because we're playing with loosey goosey ranges with Theater of the Mind. So when it kind of gets into weird spots, that's a good time to use the Oracle to our advantage. So do they get within range to be able to actually visibly see Gertrudt? I think that's likely. So +3. Yes. All right, so they move into range and spot Gertrudt. A question: does that take their entire action? I think that's likely, because I think that they were far enough away that this is pretty much a dash action. Yeah. Okay, so they see him, and one of them was like, there she is. I see her. And they start raising up their crossbows, looking directly at Gertrudt after she, uses the alchemy jug, and was like, oh shit. All right, we're off to the races. Now we are dropping immediately into initiative. So, like full-blown initiative. So that was them. They took their thing. Their entire thing is basically moving at this point, which brings us up to Reed. Reed doesn't have any range. Reed's going to ready an action. Ready dagger. And so he's basically going to follow Cristoff. That's what he's going to do. Once he sees Cristoff attack, he's going to attack. Probably whoever's nearest, or because we have to be very specific about triggers in 5th edition, how we use readied actions. So his trigger is that he will follow Cristoff's lead and attack after Cristoff attacks, attacking whichever bandit seems to be the most injured. So that is our very specific thing. And that brings us to Gertrudt. Gertrud's seen. Gertrudt still has the half cover. They're really too far away for her to do anything. I mean, she does have a ranged. They're within. We know they're within 60. And what is the range on Radiant Flame? I think she can hit them with a Radiant Flame. Oh, because Radiant Flame, I think, is the Acolyte thing. Isn't that what's based off of? Acolyte. Range 60 foot. Okay, so they are within range, so she could try to pop one of them before they have a go. Or she could try to back up and hide again. Ooh, which one's better? I can give her just a do nothing insight check. Nobody's talking. None of her teammates are talking, so she doesn't really know exactly what they're planning. So this is going to be an insight check to see if she understands what they're planning, because that'll determine what she wants to do. All right, 5. That's good for us. So DC 09. So did her an insight check. All right, yeah. So she understands that they're going to be setting that. So she's going to move back. She's going to use her you can't really help action yourself. She could do that. You really can't guidance herself, so she needs to use her action to hide. So she's going to move back her full speed. So she's going to move 30 back. And she's going to try to re-hide. She will do much better this time. With a natural 19. So she's going to move. We'll just put her down here. She's still going to have that. She's 30 feet. back, and her height check goes up to a 19. And that's the bottom of the round. Top of the round, Cristoff, they aren't in, so Cristoff's going to do the same thing. He's just waiting for them to come in. He doesn't. I don't think he has any good bonus actions. No, the Mythalar bracelet's not going to help her here. Help him here. Yeah. All right. So he waits in lure, and we're going to go ahead and change her. All right. So did they take off? They quicken their pace once they watch that question? Maybe? I think that's 50-50. No. All right, so they're not quickening. They're like, okay, spread out. See if we can find her. We're going to step in. And they approach the wood line and step into the wood line. Again, they're using just kind of their passive perception at this point. And, you know what? We can have them make active perception rolls. That makes sense. If that's what they're... No, because they wouldn't do something on their turn if they see somebody. So I think they just kind of walk with a readied action to fire. They're going to ready action to fire when they see somebody. Is that because then we... I don't know, because then we have too much ready actions, and that's kind of a pain in the butt when a whole bunch of ready actions go off. Do they ready an action? We'll just ask. Yes. Okay, so they ready actions as they look around. So instead of actively looking for it, they're going to use their passive perception, which means at this point they're not going to see anybody. And they will step in. As they step in, the first one that's in the lead, we're going to go 1, 2, 3, A, B, C down the line, is B. Okay, so B steps up close to Cristoff. Cristoff lunges from the undergrowth with his sword ready and is going to try to skewer this guy. Fully disadvantaged. They're fully going to have advantage on this. Goodness gracious. Now, luckily, they have a really low AC. So we hit a 12, but that's their AC. So, he definitely has a shield out for this one. Alright, so that guy's going to take 4 points of damage. Which puts us at, what, 07? Yeah. Alright, so they're in the woods. They part things across, you know, with a shout, with a war cry. Cristoff's gonna jump out, ah! And try to run this guy through. He kind of wings him as he twists around. I suppose everybody will go. Everybody's gonna have disadvantage. So these guys are all gonna shoot at Cristoff, but they're all gonna have disadvantage. Or sorry, this guy has disadvantage, but these two have to deal with the +2 for cover. Trying to shoot ranged in a forest is not super useful. Really hard to do. Alright, so the first guy avoided that natural 20. Yeah, 2 on the dice, not gonna do it. The other two. Natural 1's not gonna do it, but that 19. His AC is 20 with the +2. And they're still... This bandit's got to have more than a +1. Yeah, they have a +3. So he's going to get popped by one of these guys. Oh no, for maximum damage. Are you kidding me? Alright. Cristoff takes a hard 9 points of damage. Immediately. Thunk as a crossbow bolt sinks heavily into his chest. Oh, God. Comes like right over the lip of his shield, right into him. Alright, here we are. We're in it now. Now, he was following the lead. Cristoff was following the lead. Who's closest to him? I think it's 50-50. I assume they were not hiding next to each other, so I think it's 50-50 if it's the tiefling. Low number if it's the tiefling. High number, it's going to be the half-elf. I'm really hoping it's the high elf. The half-elf. Yes. The Reed is going to flush out as well with his dagger. Ah! try to stab this guy. Oh, he's gonna do it. Yeah, that'll do her. That'll do her. The guy only has 1 hit point, so it doesn't really matter. He's going down. Reed flushes from the woods, kind of, again, he's like waist high for these guys. Up to the half-elf and like grabs him like around the thigh and is just like jabbing his dagger into his hips and around like his groin area. Which, if you don't know, as a weird self-defense thing, is that if you're using weapons, it's a real good place to stab. There's a lot of blood vessels kind of in the hip area, regardless of whatever gender you are and your anatomy. There's a lot of stuff down there, and also really screws with your ability to like run after people. So if you're in a self-defense area with some sort of weapon, that's a good area to strike. That way you can, primarily you want to run away in a self-defense area situation. So stab in those areas or hit them in that area and then try to get away. Or it will be much more difficult for them to come after you. All right, nice. So we at least got one down. Which immediately makes it Reed's turn. So Reed flushes out of this. Everybody loses their action. He stabs that guy. That guy goes down. And Reed in the flurry is going to, I guess, he could try to hide. He doesn't have a lot of hit points is the problem. But he could try to run back and maybe hide again. He can't. He doesn't have enough to hide. And actually moving away from these guys is actually bad, because they have their crossbows out. So they will switch. They do have melee weapons. They will switch. So it is his turn. He's going to collapse on the hurt one and try to stab again. Oh yeah, it's smart for him to stand next to Cristoff anyways, because of Cristoff's abilities. All right, well, that's what we expect from. That's what we've come to expect from our friends. Reed kind of flails around with his dagger and doesn't really do much with it. That puts us to Gertrudt. Gertrudt is 30 feet back. She, at this point, will release a radiant flame. So she pulls up her staff. And +5. Presumably, they would get the +2 as well, because she's shooting ranged. Won't matter. It's going to hit that on the die. And the person who's right in the middle of that half-elf who's in the lead is going to take 2d6. Woo-hoo-hoo, max damage as Gertrude lights this person up. Person comes in there, gets a sword through him from Cristoff, and Reed screams at them, and charges at them with his bloody dagger and kind of like waves it around in their face. Oh, what the hell? He tried to fight them back with the crossbow, butt of the crossbow, and then is just wreathed in this radiant flame damage. It comes from the side, just, and they drop to the ground. They are no more. Again, I still think that Gertrude has the highest body count. I'm not keeping track of it, but I'm pretty sure she does, which is very funny because our fighter, I think, has not killed very many people, or at least knocked them out, even though he is kind of the most proficient attacker. Do that. All right, back at the top. Cristoff will wheel on the one that's still there and charge down at them and do a couple of swings. Well, 3's not going to do it, but that 11 will hit. So a d8 +2, 4 points of damage. It helps if I can roll higher, but that's how it is. He's nothing if not consistent, I suppose, with the 2s. At least you know what you're getting. And that's nice. In its own way. Alright, so Cristoff runs down on this one that's got his crossbow still out and cuts at him. Tiefling, who's the only one left. Dead guy next to him. Dead guy next to him. Time to make that morale check. 5. These guys definitely have a 5 or better morale. What is their charisma? 10. Way I do morale checks, the first time seeing it, is that it's a roll under. They try to hit their charisma score or lower. And if they do that, they stay in the fight. If they don't, they're going to run away. And since they're down to 50% or less of the party, they're all have to start making morale checks. It's a good way to end combat a lot quicker, or to have people surrender or do things of that nature. But this person's still in the fight. They have their fight-flight response, and they go immediately to fight. They fling the crossbow around, and then they pull their sword, and they're going to immediately attack the one that they can see. I guess let's double check. Do they attack him, or do they try to break and try to go for Reed? Do they have any fun stuff? I don't think so. These are super basic guys. No, they don't have any fun stuff. So, do they go for Reed? Highly unlikely. I'm going to say -5. Just missed it though. Like, pulls a sword, immediately like locks on to Reed, and is like, because that's the thing that's worth 200 gold, not this dude. He's small. Maybe I can pick him up and carry him, run away with him. There's no way. This guy will definitely catch me. Turns around and takes a swing at Cristoff. Natural 1. Misses. And Cristoff shoves his shield in this guy's face and pushes him back. All right, well, that's him. He got no bonus actions. He got nothing else he can do. Reed is in cover. He could throw a dagger, which would be a nice option, but I think he only has the 1 dagger. You know what? Let's do a check. We know that Cristoff picked up a 2nd dagger off of one of these bandits. Now, when we rolled for their stuff. Dagger, I don't think we put it on his character sheet. No. But he does have an extra dagger that he picked up. There is a chance that he has given that to Reed. Actually, no. Why even worry about that? He picks up the still loaded crossbow off the dead guy that's next to him. And is going to turn it around and shoot at this guy. Crossbow definitely doesn't have... actually, look at... Where is the weapon table? No, not the rule. Could be a weapon table. You know what? Whatever. Crossbow. Because these guys have light crossbow? Yes. I guess I could just actually look at the thing that's right there, the stat block. So it is a simple weapon, and because of the way that 5.5 works, every class now has proficiency in simple weapons, which means that if every class has it, that means that pretty much everybody has it. I believe that is correct. You know what, just for my own edification, I am going to look at the classes real quick, but I'm pretty sure in the redo, every class has access to simple weapons, which didn't used to be the case. Most did, but there were a few that didn't. Like the wizard. Simple weapons. Warlock. Simple weapons. Sorcerer. Simple weapons. Rogue's the other kind of big one. Simple weapons. Because rogues and wizards were the ones that were the classes that were like, oh, you get this weird in 5e basic, this weird amalgamation of what weapons they can use, which is not all of simple weapons. And Monster Hunter, yeah, okay. So that means that everybody has access to be able to use the thing. So that means he's gonna get his proficiency bonus on it. Because if he's trained with a dagger, he's going to be trained with that. Which just means that they're so easy to use that anybody can kind of use them and be proficient with them. So, Reed reaches down, picks up the loaded light crossbow, turns it, fires it. Dexterity check. Here we go. No. Not with a 9. Ding! Flies off. Crap. Alright. That was a whole lot of build up for a whole lot of nothing that happened. Alright, so Reed's doing that. Gertrude's still in the back. She's going to Radiant Flame again. She will miss. Also with a 9. Back up to the top. Cristoff. So, crossbow bolt flies by. Radiant Fire Flame flies by. Cristoff is still bearing down on this thing. Going to make 2 attacks. Probably going to do it here. Man, we have rolled so many natural ones. We've rolled like, what, 5 or 6 natural ones already. The Google dice are not in our favor today. They are not at all. But 13's definitely going to hit. All right. Do we want to take bets that he's going to roll a 2 on this D8? We definitely got the Google dice today that are real wonky. Oh no, 4 this time. Woohoo! Aren't we doing it? Doing something special. I think that might be... Oh no, he's just shy. That is 6 points of damage. He has 1 hit point left. Now, I'm going to give him advantage, which is disadvantage on morale check at this point. He has 1 hit point left. He's on the verge of dying. It really wouldn't make a ton of sense if he stayed in the fight, but I also want to go to the option where it's like, maybe they would. People could be weird, could be... Once that adrenaline starts going, you're not really thinking in your right mindset. So, but I am going to give them advantage, which is technically disadvantage on the roll. So, they got to get 2 dice that are 10 or lower. And they do. Wow. I'm not going out like some sucker. They're getting desperate. So are they going to go after Reed? I think that's extremely likely. No. No, they don't. Turns around, looks at Cristoff. Fucking kill you. And we'll try to cut Cristoff down. It's gonna miss. Got an 18 AC right now. He's kind of flailing. Ugh. Kind of steps back. Reed's like, shit. You've got to load the crossbow. Back to our... There we go. Which has the load quality, right? No. Loading. You can only fire 1 piece of ammunition when you use an action, a bonus action, or a reaction to fire it, regardless of the action you make. Okay. Oh, okay. So we can still use it. Load is no longer an action. That's fine. So it doesn't actually take an action to reload it. That's fine. There's a guy with a quiver down there, so he's gonna grab another one and take a shot at the guy. He's gonna pull the string back. Take another shot. Come on, Reed. That will hit. Don't really need to roll for damage, but let's do it anyways. One guy does D6. No, it's a D8, right? Doesn't matter. All right, 6 points of damage. Thunk. And that guy falls down to the ground. Everybody looks at... He kind of like lifts up the crossbow. Well, all right. Is everybody okay? And for the moment, we exit combat. All right, so we did it. The only way it could have gone better is if Cristoff had not taken max damage. Otherwise, we did fantastic. And we're going to pick up some more stuff. So they're gonna take the moment to loot these bodies. I think they're like, all right, look, we can't probably stay at the inn tonight, which really, really sucks. They really wanted to do it. They already paid for it. Okay. Extra plans. All right. Actually, Cristoff, why don't you stand watch? You have the best eyes. So Cristoff's gonna stand watch. We're gonna loot the bodies. The ambush aftermath. Cristoff's going on watch, so he's not gonna help with anything. But we know, because we rolled last time, that there were only 3 bandits, but that doesn't mean that there aren't any other issues or any other stuff that might happen. We also just killed people, so you know, there could be some legal implications. We need to be careful about, like, if anybody comes nosing around. Now, the inn's a little bit far. We said it was over like 60 meters away, so people might have heard the yelling or the sound of the battle. Maybe not. It's a little far away. Anyways, Cristoff's on watch. These are the sort of things specifically he is keeping an eye out for. Reed's going to gear up. Now, he certainly can't wear any of these people's armor. And he's not trained in armor anyways. Because not all classes are trained in armor. Gear up with the extra dagger. He's going to grab the light crossbow and a quiver full of arrows, or technically crossbow bolts or quarrels. So Reed's going to take that stuff. This gives him some extra stuff. So he gets going to have 2 daggers. And have a light crossbow. And so we'll give him the 1d6 quiver. What does a 1d6 quiver mean, if you haven't watched me do this stuff before, is that I use a resource die for tracking resources like ammunition and rations and things like that. So anytime that you always get 1 shot for free. So if you only use 1 shot in a combat, then we consider that conserving ammunition. You are purposefully not just firing willy-nilly. So you get 1 shot for free. If the moment you use 2 shots or more, at the end of the combat, you will need to roll that die. If you roll a 1 on your quiver die, that means that you weren't able to recover a bunch of your arrows or crossbow darts or whatever. And it goes down to a d4. If you roll a 1 on a d4, it goes down to 1, which means you only have 1 left. Like we said, you always get that 1 for free in the combat. So you can, as long as you have 1 in the quiver, you always are able to fire 1 shot during the combat, which is very nice. But it also means you can't ever fire that second time, or else you're going to lose that last piece of ammunition. And then you go down to 0, and then you don't have anything. We have the light crossbow. Gonna have a +3. And you can get 28 + 1. I always forget that the light crossbow is a d8. I always want to think it's a d6, because that's what the short bow is. But it's actually not. Alright, people are hurt. Not looking great. Gertrude is going to roll these bodies. Oh, yeah, that spell. Yeah. Rolls the bodies. Alright, what are we going to get off of these guys? So, I could bring up the thing, but then... Yeah, I guess I can. One moment. I'm going to pull up... That's not how you spell it. Is in the minor treasure. There's your pocket contents. Oh, this is not attached to what I do. They show us that. That's okay. We can go back to where we were though. I have this is an OBS thing. I have two things that are very similarly named, so I clicked on the wrong one. So we went blink there for a second. All right. So Gertrud's gonna do a little searchy search. We'll give her, search with some guidance. Yeah. 10, 11, 12. What's the DC here? It'll be fine. All right. So let's say how many items do each of these guys have on them? So we got 3 guys. Well, one of them already didn't have anything on them. We know that. He already took the stuff off of them. All right. So we get 4 rolls on this table. All right, so we got 62. So contract, that's probably going to be another bounty hunter note. And then another note. We got 2 pieces of paper. Oh, and then a map. The map could be very helpful for. So let's start putting down information. So we got a contract of some sort. We've got a lister note. Got a map. So we got a bunch of paper, which is nice. Plus just the generic gear they've got on them. And 41. 1, 2, 3, 4. 41. A flask of something. And again, we don't have to use these verbatim, but I tend to. Just because most of them make sense. What is the flask worth? And I think it makes sense to do. Okay, like a copper. So it's worth copper. So this is going to be like a clay flask. Clay, or probably like a little leather flask. Now. Gertrude has armor already, right? No, she doesn't. She has natural armor, which she loses if she picks up this armor anyway, so she's good to stay where she is. All right. That's what she picks up. So we can find out. I think for this, we're going to roll. Do it this, we're gonna roll. No, my bad. Do it this way. I just need to open it. I thought I opened it already, and I haven't done that. No, that you fool! Open your recents. Cristoff, read. Solo dark tables. There we go. All right. We got our solo dark tables, so let's roll for the prompts, just to kind of give us an idea of like what these paper things are. 55 and 7. Invite. Invite burden. Invite burden sounds like the bounty note. I think that's going to be. I don't know which one it is, because we're going to do this. So we have another bounty note. We'll say Reed's bounty. Call it broadsheet. Not really broadsheet, but we'll call it 20p. Dead or alive. I think we determined that they get a larger reward. Maybe we didn't do this. If not, we should have. They get a larger reward if they bring him in alive, I assume. right, so that's one of them. Let's roll again. 7382. Assist. Nourishment. Assist nourishment. I could interpret that as like a place where they could have picked up clues about stuff. Or it could be something about the area they're going into. Maybe something about like where to pick up supplies, or it could be literal. I'll just ask the Oracle. Is that a literal interpretation? No. 12. Yes. Okay. So some sort of place. I think this is probably going to be the map. And I'll just ask the Oracle. Is this a place where they can like resupply? I know a place where they can resupply. Probably. Okay. So that's probably going to be the map. Resupply area. Place that they could resupply at. And now the question is that I have for it, is this a place that we already know of? I think that's extremely unlikely. We only know a few places. But I rolled a 19, so the answer is yes. Which means that this for me that's got to be the old border ham. Which is, what are we calling it? Marca Hymas. Just asking another follow-up question. Does it tell us who to contact? No. Alright. Alright, so it was a place that we already knew all the way. Like, well, that's fine. Yes. But it's probably like the last place where it's like, hey, this is the last place you can really go to before you cross over the border. And probably is an area that our group is probably going through. Most likely to go to. And we've got one more thing that we need 99 and 70. Rest. Prize. Which seems to be, like, to me, that the evocative thing is that they knew that we were going to be going to White Birch Inn. So it's like a literal note that's like, go to White Birch Inn. And like, yeah, check out White Birch. I think he wanted to say, like, White Bitch Inn, which is very funny. That White Bitch Inn. White Birch Inn. And leather flask. Presumably it's a flask. Presumably it has some sort of alcohol in it. That's extremely likely. I rolled a 13, so yes. Why not? Because I was enjoying the most recent game that I've completed is still Kingdom Come Deliverance. So that's obviously going to be schnapps then. That's what you use to save. It's the savior schnapps. Alright, cool. That gives us an idea. We found a Reed's Bound broadsheet. That's not good. We've got something that's pointing out Marca Hymas, which is a place that we already know about. So unfortunately, that's not healthy. But we do have this check at White Birch Inn. Or we'll say investigate. And so, the group's looking at this real quick. This is going to be a handwritten note from somebody. I'm going to roll an oracle check to be like, does somebody here specifically either, well, Gertrude or Reed know who this is? Know the handwriting. I think that is not only extremely unlikely, it's extremely unlikely, and I'm going to roll with disadvantage. Now, which I think is still technically a higher percentage than... Well, actually, no. It's probably a lower percentage than rolling a natural 20. So we'll just do that instead. If I roll a natural 20, they know who this handwriting is, or it's signed by somebody they know. So incredibly unlikely. It's so unlikely. Yeah, no, okay. But does it have a name on it? Unlikely. Okay, so it does have a name. And presumably the name is... I don't know. It's a name we don't know. Or is it initials? Maybe it's initials. That's more likely. Yeah, okay. And because of that, I'm gonna say like, you can do a random letter generator real quick. We'll give us two letters for them. F. Okay. Well, I guess I could have left it. Right. We can get anywhere close to it. FT. All right. You don't know what that is. Signed with the initials FT. So we've gotten ourselves a little clue as to maybe behind this. Because I don't think we've met anybody named FT. But we have told very few people where we were going. So it had to have been somebody who knew exactly where we were. So it has to probably be somebody who knows our travel path. Now, some of the places we went, people would probably be able to discern that very quickly. So we were in the little hamlet where we were trying to get the boat. We're at the priory. We did the leprechaun crossing. Any of those might point towards here. Presumably, we've also been at White Birch most of the day, so somebody could have sent it from that as well. So, but otherwise, we haven't told anybody our real route. So it would make sense that knowledge kind of has to come from one of those people. Unless maybe it could be somebody at court, but that's like a whole lot of hypothetical. I mean, it is like the notable establishment towards the border. So maybe they would send somebody. They must be from... the fishing village, which I don't remember the name of. It's like Poe something, right? Be the Ghost Hawk Prairie, or the Prairie. Leprechaun Crossing. Other places it could be somebody from White Birch Inn. We did see the Windwalkers leave earlier. From one of them. But if they left and met somebody, why would they write it down for them? They could just tell them that. Unless they were sending a message. Okay, follow-up question about this note. Is this note small? like on a small piece of paper, as if maybe it was sent with like a messenger bird. I think that's 50-50, maybe. No, okay. So it's not sent by a messenger bird. Or it could be somebody back from the castle. So it really has to be from one of those 5 spots. Those are the only people who would potentially know where we were going. We did a pretty good job about telling any of the people that we met along the way nothing about our route. They would have to, and because we left so quickly, it's not as though a lot of word would have gotten out ahead of us as to us moving. We're still pretty much at the bleeding edge of information. So really the only places somebody could have gotten here earlier if maybe they had taken the north leg of the Crown Road instead of the west leg. Is what we did. Which kind of gave us our roundabout way, but the north had more unfriendlies in it. So we went this way. And we got a leather flask full of schnapps. Which is fine. Alright, so that's everybody in the aftermath. So now it's like, alright, everybody kind of comes together. Let's roll for Cristoff. Cristoff has advantage. He rolls really well. Can't imagine he doesn't make this. Oh no, it's incredibly lit. Which means that the DC is literally 6. So he's looking out there. I think to me that means that this place, if he hit it so well, I guess I'll ask the Oracle, does he see anything of note? It's got to be something very obvious. I think that's extremely unlikely then. Yeah, no. He's like, it is bone quiet out there. Besides sort of like the light atmosphere, they can probably hear if there's being any music or anything that's being played in the tap room. They can probably hear a little bit like the very, very quiet murmur of the inn, but that's like it. Otherwise, it's just very quiet. And especially after they had some combat, there's probably not a lot of animal sounds around, but that's going to probably start to fill back in at this point. Maybe not, since they're standing there. All right, so they look around. They kind of come back together. Okay, well, hey, look, nobody's out there. Yeah, he's looking the crossbow over and his quiver situated on his belt. I think this is going to come in. Yeah. Good. And Gertrudt, looking at these pieces of paper and kind of like hands them out. They had another bounty sheet. Buff holds up his crumpled version of it. Yeah. They also had this short map showing them to resupply at Markeheimer's. That's the place we found out about already. Right? That's like the border. That's like the spot on the border. Really the last place before we leave the Fürstentum. Okay. So maybe, I guess we avoid it then? Maybe that's not a safe place for us? I would think that would be a smart idea. We don't really need to go there. Agreed. I agree. The last thing I found is the thing to investigate White Birch. So somebody knew we're here, knew that we were here, or knew we were coming here. Or at least estimated we would probably. And they talk about like the options of who they could be, and I was like, oh, it could be somebody from the village, it could be somebody from the priory, it could be somebody, one of the leprechauns on crossing, or somebody who talked to the leprechauns. Finding that out. I guess, it'd be nice to have 6, so let's add one more. Technical Rookland Crossing. Question mark? Because hypothetically, maybe somebody went there and like they knew they were going to the Rookland Crossing, and talking to people at the Rookland Crossing, be like, oh, did these people come through here? The answer is no. They're like, oh, well, where does the ferry go? And they'd be like, oh, well, it goes pretty much over to White Birch Inn. Ah, okay. So then they would know White Birch Inn. Also, I found this. And then, like, pass it, and, like, Reed reaches out his hand to get the leather flask. And then Gertrudt, like, lifts her hand above him and hand it to Cristoff. Oh, all right. Well, you know what? I think we've earned one. They pass the flask around and take a slug of schnapps. Work it back, put in their stuff. Okay, what do we do about these? Sits there looking down at the bodies. You know, they could have. Man, they could have animals. I don't know if they were traveling on foot or not. We also still need to go back and get that stuff. They might be looking for me if this person gave my description to anybody, since I had already knocked him out. Reed, obviously, you can't go. If there's anybody in there with one of these broadsheets, they're gonna pick you up. Alright, Gertrudt, can you maybe take the animals back and get them limbered up and maybe look around? No. Did we get everything out of the room? I guess it's a good question. Did they get everything out of the room? I think that's extremely likely. I think they got everything. Reed was already packing that stuff up. Yeah. Yeah, so they got everything out of the room. We need to split some stuff up. Right, Reed, you sit here. We've got to do something with these bodies. I think, Gertrudt, if you will give them what best last rites you can. Then Gertrudt, like, hands the alchemy jug to Reed. This oil. We should burn them along with the notes. Oh. So why the... Oh. I'll take care of it. I will do that. Well, you two. Yeah, I'll take care. Cristoff's like, okay, I'll go out. They maybe saw me at the stable. I had a real tough time with the donkeys, so Gertrudt, you go deal with the stable. I'm gonna swing around the front to see if maybe there's some unattended animals. I was gonna say horses, but horses are actually incredibly rare in this part of the world. Actually, let me double check. I have to look at my smiling face. I'm gonna pull my resource document up. See where horse distribution stops, but I'm pretty sure we are just outside of it. Chicken, goats, honeybees. Oh, it's horses. Front. Oh, no, there it is. Alright, horse starts at 32 to 57. And we are at Actually, I think we're within it. We're at 30. Did I say? No, we started at 32. So we're not in the area. We're just west of the area. I don't often show this stuff, but in case and see if you care about this sort of stuff. It's a spreadsheet on where I have kind of the distribution of resources around the map. It's really boring to look at. It's just a bunch of bar graph kind of stuff. But we are right here. And if we go down to horses, we'll see horses right there. So we are just outside of horse. So it's pretty unlikely that there are horses, but they might have a donkey or something out there. Those are a little bit better for carrying stuff, and these guys probably aren't carrying stuff. But sure, let's go ahead and roll for it. Or he will when he gets over there. So they're going to check. Preparations. Because we can't stick around here after doing that stuff. We got to get out of here. All right, so we have Gertrudt. To the stables. Cristoff is checking for animal. And I'll say, and other, maybe bounty hunters. And Reed going to dispose of the bodies. Again, this is probably going to take like half an hour. So, again, White Birch Inn. I'm going to keep doing it. That's funny though. Very funny. All right. That's what we're going to do. Okay, so who do we start off with? And I guess I put them in the order, so let's do Gertrudt. So Gertrud's gonna grab the donkeys and head back over to the stable. When she heads back over to the stable, is there anybody outside? I think kind of maybe not, because I think the bandit had already kind of scared people off. Like probably the stable hand or anything like that. He'd probably told him to shove off. So is there anybody there? Unlikely. Oh, but there is. Is it the stable hand? Probably. Almost. Yes. Yes, and it's the stable hands, and they're coming out to meet Gertrudt. I guess that's our yes and they're coming out to meet her. Hey, did you stable hand kind of look around? You deal with the guy that's out there? Who got knocked unconscious? It was the half elf, right? The rough looking half elf guy. I saw them kind of running around, and him and his cronies, and take care of heard a scuffle. What's she gonna say? Because obviously she's visibly wounded. Like, she's got blood on her tunic, especially on the back side of it, where she got shot. Not wearing her cloak anymore. Though honestly, she probably wouldn't put her cloak back on. But still, it's gonna be wet with blood. Does she try to lie about it? Does she try to deceive about it? I think so. I think she's going to try to deceive this person. Which she is not good at. She gets a +1. She got a 16 though. Hey, he got a 14. No, I don't know what you're talking about. I just took my animals out for a walk. Oh. Oh, and all right. Do you need some help? Do you want to? No, I think we're preparing to leave. Or she would say I'm preparing to leave. Oh, it's kind of late. You sure you don't want to stay another night? Or, she just kind of like pushes past this guy. Okay, right, sure. Well, hey, let me help you, I guess. So, she is going to have... So, successful cast deception check, and she's gonna get help on the stable hand, prepping the animals. Came up apparently with a plausible enough story that they were like, oh yeah, I guess, sure. She's it was like, I don't know, this lady. It helps that she's like a druid too. Remember that's druid not in the D&D sense, but druid in sort of like the religious sense, as like a druidism. So they look at her and they're like, well, I mean, here's a Lagawardis, so you know, people just kind of like give her the benefit of the doubt. So she's gonna grab that. And they will limber stuff up. No check necessary. She's got help. She's got her own guidance if she needs to do it. We'll soon swing back one more chance. So she'll get one more check for the quality close. Once she starts moving around, this guy's actually able to see the backside of her. You might be able to see it. So we're off to Cristoff, who has saw the stable hand running out, so like waited back a beat. Once that Gertrudt speaks, able to bluff her way past the stable hand, and they both head into the stables. He takes off and he heads around to the front, looking around for stuff. So we're gonna give him this. I think this is more of an insight check than a perception check. And also take it, like, he's not very good at any of those except perception. Because I think it's not going to be, if people left animals outside, you're going to see the animals outside. The animals aren't trying to hide. So it's really just like, does he see anything? But it's more about insight as to trying to determine. I guess it's just a luck check. Are there any animals or anything outside of note? Is there anything of note? Yes. I like an 11, and let's use our 11 as a yes, but. Yes, but. What's that but? I don't know. Let's roll on this guy over here. Roll on ourselves. 4098. I'll take it. Avoid. Avoid motive. Okay, yeah, so there are some animals outside. I'm thinking almost like a Wild West kind of saloon. Like, there is a hitching post at the front of the inn that's different from the stable. I think that makes sense for people who are just coming in for a drink or something like that, who don't really need, like, stabling services for overnight. I think there is a hitching post out there, and he's, like... Cristoff's over there, obviously taking a look at the animals and looking around them, which seems probably really, really suspicious. I think that's the but. So I think that there is there more than one person? I think that's unlikely. Okay, so it's just one person. But there is one person who catches notice of them, who might have been like out, like smoking on the porch or something like that, under the eaves. Who sees Cristoff, eyeing up animals there at the hitching post. So they're going to interact with them. Okay, the answer is yes. I wanted to know, is like, are they part of the staff? There is somebody who's like taking a break, probably like the barkeep or somebody taking a break. Sees flying the animals back and forth, trying to discern, like, he's by looking at them if he can tell anything about them. So, does he pick up anything? Again, I think that's going to be an insight check. Let's get a DC first. 11. So he has a chance, ladies and gentlemen. He has a chance. Insight check. Come on, Cristoff. Oh, yeah. So he gets it. All right, so he's going to know for certain. So then it's just an oracle question. It's like, are any of these tied to those people? Yes or no? Honestly, I think it's unlikely. Like I said, they wouldn't be riding. It doesn't seem like they'd be carrying a bunch of stuff with them. So I think it's unlikely, but let's go ahead and do it anyways. Okay, even with a -3, that the answer is still yes. So I guess the big question is, like, what is it? You know, is it horses? And is it horses? This is extremely unlikely. I think that it's horses. That people of this level, though, I mean, he does have a big bounty on his head. That's enough to buy 4 horses. So that would draw somebody. I mean, here's one of the reasons is, like, I don't necessarily want to give my PCs horses. That will that will really could really trivialize a lot of the coming difficulties is being able to have horses. But hey, I have to give them the opportunity to have them. I can make it difficult, but I birthed that into the world. I birthed that thought into the world, the concept of that. So I got to give them a shot, even if it's a slim shot. Extremely unlikely, so -5, which means that they need a 16 or better. Ooh, they just missed it. So what does it just miss in that area look like? Maybe a mule. I think that's so there's a mule. So he sees something that's definitely larger than a donkey. It's not like, I think there are also some like llamas and alpacas. There's probably maybe a dog or two that are out here kind of around in the front. I'm looking at him back and forth. And he perks up when he sees that, because the mule's going to be larger than everything else that's there. A mule. So he's probably thinking it is a horse at first, and then as he gets closer, realizes it's a mule. But still, a mule, because it's a horse hybrid, is pretty rare. So that had to have come from somewhere. So give it a little investigation check. And as he's starting to move towards that, that's when this person's going to come. Can I help you there? Cristoff, who is bloodied, remember. You know what? I didn't ask this question. Again, I have to give my player characters that I'm playing, the benefit of the doubt. They are covered in blood. They are trying to keep a low profile. I said that they were doing that. It seems reasonable that they would try to clean up the blood as best as they could. Now, nobody has prestidigitation, so we can't, or mending. Actually, does she have mending? She does have mending. So she would have fixed any of the injuries that were on the chainmail, as well as the hole from the crossbow bolt in her stuff, as well as on Reed's clothing. So their clothing has been mended, but it hasn't been necessarily cleaned. They weren't taking the time. They have soap. They could have sat down and done that, tried to rub out as much of that as they wanted to, but they probably covered it over. So he's probably got his cloak over it. That probably has his cloak over it, trying to hide the blood stains on it, on his chainmail. And they would have spot cleaned the weapons real quick, stuff like that. So I'm gonna give him. Let's find out what a DC is. Then I'm gonna give him kind of a stealth check. Okay, not bad. That's 9. So this person approaches. See if we get away with this. I think, yeah. All right. So he is able to sort of twist his way around and hold his cloak close enough. that they don't immediately see that stuff, but probably do see that he's armed. He's got the shield slung over his back and stuff. Can I help you? Yeah. No, I was caught by this creature. We don't see very many of those around here. It looks like a mule. Yeah, don't get a lot of these around this area. We do not. You have anything you want to tell me that you're doing other than just admiring the animal? Oh, he's got to go back. Okay. He's gonna do a little bit of quick thinking, and he's gonna turn around and because remember he did make a scene earlier in the day when he did his gambling. You know, I had the bit of a run-in with some of the windwalkers that were here. Been kind of poking my head around looking for them, and I saw this creature and I thought, you know, they're from far away. Maybe it's theirs. Maybe they've made their way back. Are they around now? So I think we'll keep the same deception. That seems a pretty reasonable thing to me. Oh, yeah, they took off. And are they back? You know, unlikely. We haven't been gone that long. I think extremely unlikely. Ooh, they are. Are all of them back? Yes, and more. There are more of them now. Oh yeah. The windwalkers are back. They're inside. I think there's actually more of them now than there were previously. So if you want to say hi, well, is this their mule? I think that's pretty easy as he's looking at it. Like we said, that the windwalkers have a very specific patterns and things like that they have that are very useful for identifying them. They have a specific type of patterning they use in their ornamentation of clothing and gear and stuff. Do we see that on there? Yes. All right. And now that he's closer at it, he looks at it. Oh yeah, great. They're inside. Perfect. Well, he just kind of gives the mule a little pat on the flank. I guess that's fine. All right. Well, yeah. I guess I'll move on. Seems smart. Get yourself a drink inside. Ooh. So now he's gonna try to like push Cristoff to. It's gonna look real weird because again the sun's down at this point. Cristoff just kind of like walks off instead in the middle of the night. Of asking about stuff that's inside the inn and then not going into it, that's gonna look really, really suspicious. But also he doesn't want to go in there. Oh, he not only doesn't want to deal with the windwalkers, he also doesn't know if there's maybe more people who are going to be after that bounty now that those guys have come in and flashed the sheets around. Means they could tie him to Reed potentially. Certainly the windwalkers could, though the windwalkers were absent, so maybe they don't know about the notice. And there's a chance. I mean, the windwalker. Yeah, and if he goes in a direction that will lead more suspicion to where we go. So, yeah. I'll, you know what? I'll head on up to my room. Actually, now that I think about it, it's getting a little late. I got an early start in the morning. All right. Bartender kind of like leans back against the wall. Okay. And he's gonna move inside. Ooh. All right. So we'll write a few notes right here. On the mule side, walkers, windwalkers back, and there. And Cristoff's going inside. Now that we have retconned the bloody clothing thing, I'm not sure that we need to do that for Gertrude. Gertrude, if she healed her cloak, there's probably not a ton of blood on her cloak. And I'm not sure this guy is. Yeah, you know, we'll give her advantage for it. I was thinking we could give her double advantage. Or her advantage and then the stable hand disadvantage. I mean, she only needs to beat like a 10. And have advantage on that. Well, just to, you know, we're putting up things that could really screw our player characters in front of them. And Reed's going to dispose of the bodies. He's going to drag them all off into an area in the woods. He's going to... one of the things I wanted to see is, like, is there enough, like, dry stuff that's on the ground that he can use to kind of, like, build a pyre or something like that? Enough fuel on the forest floor that he can find. Because, remember, it's getting dark, and he's a halfling, so he does not have dark vision. Correct? Not have dark vision. So he is going to have to... light up some light. But he does have a candle. At this point, he'll probably have to light up a candle and kind of shield it just walking around. Looking. He doesn't have a good lantern or anything. So he's going to light that up and start looking around. That's going to be a survival check. He's going to have... I'd say because this is a sight-based thing, he's still in dim light, so it's really he only gets the ability to do it because he has a light source, but he's still going to be at disadvantage for a survival check. 1. I assume there's always a chance because you can't auto-fail on the skill check. Yeah. But he fails the DC. So he scrambles around, looks, so he's unable to find forge fuel. But he's like, well, I know there's one place I can definitely get fuel. All right. He goes, puffs out the candle. Well, it'll be better if people don't see me. And I think he'll probably take his cloak off. Take it with him. And he's going to wind his way back over. I assume it's a big inn. There's probably a huge stack of firewood up against the side of it. He's like, I gotta go get firewood. I gotta go get some wood to actually be... It's already dry that will actually take fire. So most of the stuff that's in spring is probably still really wet from the snow and the rain and all that good stuff. So he's gonna go get some dry wood. Do that. So what we're gonna do is I'm just gonna roll a d12. See if there's anything that might get in his way. It's pretty unlikely. Okay, so everything goes as planned. No check needed to collect firewood and bring it back. He's gonna go grab from the inn supply and bring it back. Again, he's got 2 pints of oil with him. He already has a way to strike and make it, so he's gonna be good. He's gonna find a nice, I assume, like little like depression or something like that. He is primarily what he wants to do is hide the light of the fire, and he's gonna make a stack. So we'll give him another survival check. I think this one's pretty straightforward though. So he finds a good spot. Well, I guess we should roll, but that's a 19 already. Yeah. 19, he gets it by 7. Depression to hide the flames. And sets... And prepares to set them on fire. Yeah. Yeah. Damn. I was gonna say, it's like, oh well, he could do something like do a, like how you make charcoal. which is basically like almost like a completely choked out fire, which would not have really an open flame that they could see for the most part. Would be even better, but I can't imagine that Reed knows that. He doesn't really have that kind of background. He doesn't have that trade kind of background where he would potentially even know that. That's fine. So, but he's not going to set the fire until they are leaving, essentially. All right, so back at the top, let's do Gertrude. Gertrude's going to get that one more check just to make sure everything goes as needed. Going to give her advantage on that deception check. Not great. I said she needed to make a 10. He makes exactly a 10. So I think like maybe she keeps kind of like weirdly like positioning herself so I can't see the back, or like kind of telling her. So she's being odd, but she's already kind of an odd person. So and they already started off with an oddness in their interaction. Yeah, thank you for your help. I will be good now. It's best to get going while I can still see a little bit. Lady, you're really sure that you need to leave now? I mean, look, if it's just like a money thing, I'll let you stay. It's dangerous there. I'll let you stay in the stable. I won't tell anybody. It'll be fine. I appreciate it. This is this well-traveled area. I know where I'm going. I don't know. I will be fine. All right, lady. Well, best of luck. Well, if there's nothing else, I guess I'll see myself inside. If you need anything, like, you can ring the bell. There's like a little bell outside the table to like call people, call attendants. If you need anything or you forget something, just change your mind. Just let me know. I'll come out and help you. I appreciate your concern. I will be. All right. And he turns around and heads back off. Heads back into the inn. So that's success. So everything goes well there. Just final check. Does she see anything of interest while she's in there? I think that's extremely unlikely. She's not really looking for it. Yep, not with that kind of perception check. She's not going to see anything. Alright, so she's like, alright. She grabs the thing. She heads out. As she heads out, or as that guy's going back, going to... Yeah, I think we get a cutaway as he's sort of like pulling the animals out of the stable, and stable hand's got his hands in his pockets, heading back in. Bartender kind of like what's up, hand up? Hey, come here. There's a kind of a wily guy I saw here making eyes at the animals. So keep an eye on him when you go back in. Older gentleman, half elf, green hair down to there. Like he was got a shield on his back. He was going up to his room, but was also asking about the windwalkers. And the last thing we need is a big fight. Now that there are a bunch of windwalkers here, keep an eye on him. Make sure he stays out of trouble. All right. Yeah. Hey, if the lady points back over the stable, she needs anything, just grab me. Will do. And they break and head back inside. So, what is Cristoff doing? So he's headed inside. He's gonna basically try to do one of these. and try to walk past the windwalkers, try to keep his head down. Great architecture and head back and see if he can just like kind of quick walk through the tap room and try to get up the stairs into the room, because he knows he can just hop out the window of the room. So he's gonna do that. He's gonna head back upstairs. All right, so this is gonna be a straight up, I guess, deception check. I would take either a stealth or a deception check. He's not good at stealth, so I think we got to go with deception just to avoid the disadvantage. But you know what? We'll do a little mix and match. I will let him get the +1 from his dexterity. How about that? It's +1 to the roll. People aren't really probably looking for him that much. We don't know that, though. So it's just straight. Okay. Well, that's not great. That's a 20. Which means he needs to roll a 19 or better. And hey, we all know Cristoff at this point. We know he's not going to roll a 19 or better. But you know, it's on every die. There's always a chance. Let's give it to him. I always forget that's 2F. Always want to spell with 1F. It is fully off. All right. Enough pussyfooting around. Let's roll it. Come on, buddy. That's very low. We didn't do it. That's not good for us. All right. Okie doke. So he's going to catch the attention of someone. We don't know. Could be the Windwalkers, could be other bounty hunters, could be just someone from the bar. Could be anybody. So because I don't know who it is, let's roll for. I can figure out what they want. Let's roll for that on our solo dark. 4456. Link loss. They did lose at gambling, but also it could be a bandit. Maybe there's another bounty hunter we didn't know about who may be looking for somebody. I think either one of those would be reasonable suggestion. So I'm going to roll a d6. If I roll high, it's going to be our Windwalkers, which is a much bigger problem. Of course it is. So it is the Windwalkers. And freaking tastic. Of course it is. And he gets clocked. So he's trying to keep a low profile. He goes, hey, you're the guy. You still owe me a game. I see you trying to sneak off upstairs, trying to avoid me. You still owe me a game. You know, I was telling my friends here, just now in, not to play with you. You're some sort of shark. That's what you are. You need to give me the opportunity to win my money back. Yeah, no, it's great. You know what? Here, he doesn't have much money on him. I need to look up. Do I have it? I can't. I don't remember if I have it or not. Let me look. I'm sure I do. Goods and services. Okay. I'll show you guys. I just need to find it real quick. My head's in the way. So he could buy them. I think he's going to just try to buy them off with a few drinks. Yeah, let's change our music. Go. We're in the end. Let's go for some inn music. Play this one. Actually, you know what? I think we were using this one for it. We're using the Halfling Lodge. Yeah. That sounds more cool. Oh, yeah, no, you guys, you know what? I gotta tell you, I gotta get up early in the morning. Pretty bushed. But, you know what? Fair is fair. Tell you what, looks around. How about a few drinks on me? Pulls out 2 silver pieces. Eh? You know what? Just to show, no harm, no foul. I'm gonna let him make a persuasion check with advantage because he's throwing some cash. Remember, he does not have a lot of money. He has literally 5 silver in his pouch, so he's about to give a significant portion of that away. And that's for them. If they want to buy low ales, which is why I looked this up, they can buy 20 cheap drinks with it, or they can buy 4 nice drinks with it, as far as ale's concerned. Or they can buy 2 cups of wine. But that's it. They can't get any good wine. They can't get any spirits. Yeah, sorry. I'm thinking about what he might do next. So I'm going to give him that. Let's find out what the DC is first. Keep rolling high. Dang, that's 19. He gets advantage, though. And he has a +1, so he needs to roll an 18. Come on, buddy. Not the time for this. Alright. So it does not go well. I'm trying to think. Does this person react, like, aggressively? I think that's unlikely, and it could happen. I think it's pretty slim. Do I think it's extremely unlikely? Maybe. I think for the first roll, because we're probably going to have to do another roll after this. Try to get past. So I think it's just extremely unlikely that he like puts hands on him or anything like that. Okay, so the answer's no. He's like, no. I don't want your charity. I want to win it fair and square. So, you gonna give me the opportunity to win that back? Or, perhaps we need to do something else to, get it from you. I'll be honest. Here. But he's just gonna take his pouch and like dots it on the table. You can have everything that's in it. It's not enough, not a ton, but you can have it. Look, I spent most of everything I got on my room here. So, and gambling with you. So, that's what you want. If you want to play me for what's in that purse, I'd rather go upstairs and go to sleep, but if that's what you need, do that. So I'm going to give him another check. He's not going to get advantage this time. But maybe that winds him down a little bit. That's a more reasonable check. That's 15. So let's roll a 14. We're going to play for it. That's what we said we were going to do. That's what we're going to do. I'm a man of my word. Alright, yeah, let's play for it. Make it quick. And I don't want you to do that thing where you just make it obvious to lose. I'm not looking for pity here. You win again. Bygones be bygones. We'll meet your purse. Keep it. All right. Sure. Why not? All right. Well, we tried to get out of it as much as we could. Forced to play Nyman Morris. And all right. They sit down and draw it up. Press down, throw the tokens out. And they're gonna play. We're gonna do 3 rounds. You know what? I'll set a DC for them on each round. We're gonna go with the 16. First one. Nice. A 10 for the second one. Be nice to make some more money, but not really the point. And another 10. Okay, so he could actually just win this. He has the possibility to just win this. Now remember, he's not trained in any of this, so he doesn't get any bonus to it. But he knows the game. I feel like a game like Nine Men's Moors, which is very, very strategical, you could either do an intelligence check or maybe like an intelligence game check, or like maybe just an insight wisdom check. I'm gonna give him the bonus of having the +1. We're always try to put stuff in our PC's favors. He gets a +1 to the roll. It does not make it increases his odds of being successful by 5%. So they start off. Oof, lose. The other Windwalker like leans back, got his hands out, people giving him high fives. Yeah, not so hot this time, are you, buddy? Very good situation. All right. Yeah, it looks like you're getting the best of me. Yeah. You're not trying to throw this game, are you? Not trying to throw the game. Can we just hurry up, please? Take your turn. Go again. Then he smokes this guy. What's happening? I thought I had you on the ropes already. You turn this around. This is just like the last game. I don't like you. That's what I'm going to say right now. I don't like you. Look, man, I tried to give you the purse. What do you want from me? You don't want me to let you win. If I beat you, I beat you. Right? Isn't that what you want? Come, what do you want from me? Fine, just keep playing. Let's start rubbing his temples, looking down the board. Cristoff will make a final check. So if we roll a 9 or better, we're going to get more money. We're going to get more money. And we'll have, I guess, brought this Windwalker nonsense probably to a close, unless they have a really negative reaction. But I don't think we're headed in that direction. I think we're moving from more of a like rivals to frenemies kind of situation. Oh, but we failed. All right, so we do fail. So we were able to grasp defeat from the jaws of victory. Ha! Told you I'd do it. Well, thanks so much. I'll be taking that in first. Well, you weren't lying about that. All right. Well, here's your purse back. Hey, you know what? I appreciate it. Thanks. We can come on strong. My apologies. Good people. As the audio changes, it was not playing on repeat. I don't know why it was not doing that. That's fine. I don't know why I did that. Could not have done that. Anyways. Hey, no, thank you. I appreciate it. Yeah, yeah, no worries. We'll go ahead and mark it. Yeah. I think Cristoff's not a dumb guy. Look, just to prove there's no hard feelings, he takes out the flask. He's the one who has the leather flask. Takes a slug from him, hands it to him. You know, let this be the bearing of the hatchet. All right. Yeah. Yeah, I appreciate it. This guy's gonna give his name. I don't have a name prepared for him. Does he have a name that makes sense for this area of the world? I think this could be fully random. So 50-50. No, he does not. Perfect. So what we're gonna do, going to, a moment please. I need Xanathar's guy. We have how many pages? We can go 1, 7, 8, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 17, 18. Okay. So we got 18 pages, so I'm just gonna choose a random page with a D20. Well, I can't roll a natural 20. Where was that natural 20 for my game roll? 5. One, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, something on here. So roll it. 1, 2, 3. 1. Apparently this person was female the entire time. Or at least has a female name. Look at a halfling name. We got 64. Paola. Well, name's Paola. Nice to meet you. Cristoff. Yeah, nice to meet you. Tell me, you guys travel down from the north, right? You indeed, yeah. Her name down. We also know that she's probably gonna be a halfling then. She has a halfling name. Yeah, we do. You know, we're heading up past the borderlands, so I didn't know if you guys knew about anything that's up there that we should know about. Maps, notes, anything would be helpful. They know this guy can't give them any money, so they can't ask for money. But, yeah, let's, you know what? Let's do a roll. Do they have any helpful information to give? They do. Do they have, in fact, a map? That's pretty unlikely. They do. Ah, yeah, actually, we have, our new friends here. Hey, calls out the person's name who's not going to be important for this, so we're not going to give him a name. You have the new map with all the new stuff you guys added on your way in. Yeah. Pulls it out. They have a like map scroll tube. Yeah, I got it. Wow. I'm thinking, don't we have somebody who can do this? Calligraphy supplies. He doesn't have anything for this. He does, I think, right? No. Wow. No, that'd be super helpful. Obviously, they're not going to give him the map. The map is incredibly precious, especially for the Windwalkers. But they're not going to. They would probably be loath probably to let a lot of people copy it, but let's say that they're going to tell him about, okay, sure. Look, we can tell you about a few things that are on here. Let's give me a piece of paper. Put down a piece of paper and they like write out a little itinerary about things to know or look out for. So here's the question, because they're gonna ask him like, what are you looking for better? Are you looking for safe places like havens, like things of civilization, or are you looking for things to avoid? Things you should definitely avoid. I think Cristoff, you know what? Let's give Cristoff. I'm not sure which one he would better. I think depending on who was here, they would ask different things. I think Reed would definitely be more interested in the people aspect because we need to set up a holding. But I think Cristoff's main duty is to protect Reed, so I think he wants to know about dangerous areas that they should avoid. I'm going to say that he's looking for dangerous areas they should avoid. Yeah, sure. Let's write down a few things. I'm thinking like maybe a D6 or no, because I don't want to roll a 1. Let's go with like 2D4 things that he learns about. All right, so he's learned. So they bury the hatchet. We're gonna say that Cristoff buries the hatchet with windwalkers and gets some choice intel. And they know it's fresh and it's coming from their map, so he has pretty good veracity. Like, this is for sure real. So he's gonna get 7 things. Wow, that's a lot. We could put them on the map. Do we want to put them on the map? Maybe. So he kind of tells them the general area that they're going in. It's like, specifically, I'm looking for stuff that's in the swamps area. The northwest of Green Lake. Okay, yeah, sure. They have a map of kind of that area where they have a few things that are marked out on it. Here are the things that I think watch out for. I guess what we should do is like we should bring up the freaking map, I suppose. All right, wasn't expecting to get the map into play today, so I did not have it prepared. So let's get the map up. No, I don't. Don't be a fool. I accidentally saved a brand new map that's not mine. Thanks. All right, a river apart. So, I talked about this in between, but I did a big thing where we brought last time where I beefed out on all the map that we've made thus far. Kind of put us in the area that we want to be. So we have 31 places to choose from, and then 19 within those 31. All right, I have brought up the map. I think I need to reorganize this real quick because we're just going to be looking at that real quick. So let's do this. That way we have plenty of room to look at. Sorry about that. We're gonna... I'm going to... I know you guys can't see it. Let's throw it over. Okay, here we go. That's pretty much it. That's perfect. All right. So this was the massive area that we're moving into. So these are the 31 places that they could be in, and then each of these hexes has 19. So this is the area, this whole big area, by the way. Got all these red marks around it, which are just border hexes. Somewhere within all these hexes, we need to set up our new holding. We're gonna have some choice ideas, so I think we'll probably get a good idea of the area. So I think we'll get notes like, oh, there's a mountain over here. That's true. Some of this stuff could be biomes information, but we asked specifically for hazards. The things to look out for. Why are you doing that? I don't know why it's not using the repeat thing like it's supposed to. This is not functioning the way it's supposed to. Not sure what's going on. All right. Looking down at this. All right, we just need to roll, I guess, D30s. All right, so that's 3. So 1, 2, 3. So something over here. And we'll just roll a D20. Six. Which I don't think is dangerous for us. What is 6? Is 6 layers? Gosh, I cannot remember off the top of my head. Ain't that the way? Alright, well, sorry. Gotta pull up a different document. So, not prepared to be doing mapping this session. Yeah, 6 is a dungeon. Alright, so I was correct. Go back to... Alright, so there is some sort of dungeon over there. So I'm going to roll a d20 for where it is in it. It's in section 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so there is... creature layer over there. I guess we could go ahead and roll for the terrain type. I was not expecting to have to do this. Honestly, after this one, I'm going to take my break because this session's going to run a little bit longer because I'm going to fill all this stuff because I want us to leave White Birch Inn for sure this time. Now, the thing is, like, we're just going to probably immediately run into the woods and go to sleep because we're losing plenty of daylight at this point. But now that we have our lower level maps, we can kind of look at stuff. We'll set travel DCs for everybody. Though honestly, they haven't done too much today, so they're in pretty good shape as far as that's concerned. Let me... Alright, so there is a dungeon here that's going to be... 1 through 4. We're already here. Why not? Hello, 1. Okay. So not that dangerous dungeon. Alright, so we know that there's a bit of danger going on over here. You know, there's a dungeon there. And now I'm going to... let's do the biome. 7. Okay, so this is specifically... Drop the biome. They know that somewhere in these deep, heavy evergreen forest... there is a bit of a dungeon. I guess we can roll for a d6 for it. Okay, so it's a prison. Windwalkers probably don't know what's in there. They know that, hey, it's a secure location. Don't go mess around with that. The Windwalkers themselves are not adventurers. They're like, hey, there's a... Now, prison doesn't mean like an actual, like, run by the state kind of prison. It just means like something's trapped in there, or this area is meant to keep something in there. And we don't know what it is. Put down this dungeon. Alright, I'm going to go take my break. Because I have waited way too long, and I think I'm going to need some more coffee before we get through this. So, you guys hang on. We'll be back here in just a second. Alright, I have no idea why he keeps skipping. Supposed to be doing a repeat. I don't know what's going on. We're just going to delete all of that for right now, so we stop playing. Alright, I'm back. Coffee has been acquired. We need 6 more spots. So what did we learn over here? We got a prison dungeon. What's number 2 that we learn? We learn of another dungeon. Okay. E30. Which is in number 1. Okay. And where in number 1? 10. 7, 8, 9, 10. Alright, well, it can't be in 10. We have a treasure room, we're in 10. 11, 12, 13, 14. Okay, so they know about this. We have another dungeon here. APL for that, and what kind of type is it? Alright, APL 3. And it's going to be a complex of something. We'll just do this real quick. 5 and 5. 10. That's too drier. Right? Yes. I never remember. I believe it's too dry. As long as I'm consistent with it is what's important. All right. So. All right. So this is going to be a lightly wooded area. Or sorry, just normal wooded area. All right, so somewhere there's a forest over there, not in the deep woods. Up in the little forested spot in the middle of this swamp that's up there, swampy area, where there is some sort of complex. I don't think it tells us in here. No. And we don't have to know that right now. We do have the information. We don't need this many treasure. Or we don't need the goods and services for. We're going to complex. Got another dungeon. So these guys are already been super helpful. Let's oh again. Actually, you know what? We could just go down. Just go down the line. We need 5 of these. 2, 3, 4, 5. A landmark's not really super dangerous. Wandering monster is certainly dangerous. Alright, so we got a wandering monster and some sort of hostile religious site, which is probably going to be from 1 or 3. Yeah. Right. You don't know what those mean. I'm saying those like you know. From religion 1, like the primary religion, the invasive religion we already talked about is kind of an issue. Or for number 3, some sort of like folk local area that's not going to be kind to somebody like Gertrudt, probably. Going to be aggressive. Though maybe it's also people who are in touch with Gertrudt. Probably not. I can't imagine they are. Wandering monster, and then go with hostile religious site. Those are those 2. 4 was 4's like travel haven. So that's probably not good. So we could say that it's been monster overrun. So let's go with that. So technically we could have used the landmark too. So we'll do it that way. So even though I screwed that up, it won't make that difference in the final edit. So we have the gonna be monster overrun. And we've got a haven, which is also monster overrun. And what's our last one? Some sort of conflict area. Like that, and conflict area. All right, 19 and 5. And this will be for our wandering monster. 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It goes right there. 2d6. Rolled an 8, so more of the same. So there's some sort of dangerous monsters are moving through this. Through this mountainous area. I could have checked for rivers. We didn't check for rivers. Actually, rivers would be hard to check. Like I said, when I was putting the rivers on the board, and I'm bringing that up because I'll have to make more rivers for probably the hex that we just added, because they always come out of sort of the highland areas. As we do that, not always where we're from, but it's fine. Yeah, that is that the rivers will change once we find out where more stuff is on the map. So, but it's important to have the rivers there before, because we'll need to know if we need to go across them at some point, or if we want to use them as a means of discovering land. We can also ride the rivers through that. Okay, perfect. All right, so we need another 30. Oh, I guess we could do the APL. Probably write the actual notes for it. Okay, so monsters, APL 1-1. Monster. And I might do this in between sessions just because it's a little bit more bookkeeping, where we probably get a little bit more information. We get like a description, like they wouldn't have just said random monsters are in that area. They would have probably been like, this specific type of monster was seen in that area or is noted to be in that area. All right, and 27. That was the right thing. 27, so this is going to be our hostile religious site. So 13, 14, 15, 19, 20, 21. $27. All right, somewhere within here. 4. Be a religious. I'll say religious site. We'll say monster occupied. That. This is APL 03. That. Some places to stay away from, though. You know, if we take it over, maybe a good place to start from. But APL 03 is a little rich for our blood as adventurers. There are lots of places we need to avoid. And I rolled a 10, which is 2 drier. So again, we're going to go from wetland swamp to heavy forest. And we know that we're in the evergreen area, so we know that that's going to be that. Moving on. So we should just put religious site monster over in. And so we've got a landmark. This landmark's going to be in number 14. 5 and for our landmarks we use 13, 14, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, landmark. That will be monster occupied as well. Excellent. $21, 13, 19, 20, 21 puts it here. And where in here? 2. Exactly on the hex I pulled it up. We are Haven. This, we always use a little heart. Here, our Haven. Haven. This will be also monster occupied. Get an APL for that. You know, not the worst place to consider for a base. Honestly, not the worst. If there's like an inn or something there, or even like a already existing hunting lodge, even if it's in a little bit of ruin, it's right on the bend of a river. It's relatively central. It's also not that far away from White Birch Inn. It's like you can get there. We're going to have some nice protection about stuff. I'm down with this. I think this will work. That's a very potential place we could go and get. And it's APL 01, which means we could actually potentially address that issue. And be a hot to go right into basically some sort of direct conflict, but it is in a good area. But also, if we freed it on our way north, we could go into the Highlands area that's just to the northwest. I know my big fat head's in the way, but that is what's over there. There we go. The Highland area, we could capture a water spring. Be a choice. The headwaters of some sort of waterway would be very choice. Upland, so that's good land as far as defensibility. We got good options. We just found out a potentially good option, a good area that maybe we want to stick in. Between that and this religious site down here, if we could deal with either one of these. Anything that will get us out of the swamp area, and there's a bunch of swamp down here. So there's that. The heavy woods are really difficult to traverse, but bad option right in here. Water's defensive. Looks good. But that is for later us to figure out. But I'm sure that's one of the things where Cristoff's looking at this. Maybe something. And our conflict area. And our conflict area is going to be where? Alright, 0, 8. So in the 8th square, and where within it, or 8th hex, 14. 7, 8, and we have 14, so 7, 8, 9. 12, 13. And this is a conflict area. So a conflict area means that there are two factions that are in some sort of conflict there. Stupid fat head's in the way. And my fat head will continue to be in the way. Yeah, no. Well, it's in a swampy area. That's all you need to know. Oh, I guess we should roll for the other things. Fine. We'll finish this up first. That's going to be an APL 04. Conflict area. And so this thing either has to be active or... be active or haunted. Because remember, some of the conflict areas are sites. Because they're points of interest doesn't mean that there's always a fight that's going on there. It could be an old battlefield or something like that. If we come across that, there's a chance that if it were to be something that they don't want to mess with, it would have to be haunted. We can actually just make this distinction real quick. Also, we rolled a 7, so this is also going to be just... I like. And we need to roll 2d6 for the other ones that I was silly and I didn't do. This, I did that stuff, but I didn't. Hey, what's actually here? 2d6. Alright, rolled a 6, so it's going to be the same thing there. And then for our haven, it's also going to be in swamp. So, not as good as it could be. Wish that wasn't in swampland. Otherwise, it'd make for a good base. I mean, not that we can't. We could always polder it, but that's a pain in the ass. Turn that into, like, farmland. We would like to avoid that, if possible. Oh, this guy up here. Let's APL it. So, again, this Highlands area is probably going to be... Right now, it looks like our best chance, from what we know. The mountains are nice, but they're also mountains. That means we could get a nice valley, but it's going to be very secluded. Not necessarily a bad thing, but not great. Anyways, that's what we get. Let's find out, just so we can have it down for the conflict area. No, if that's like an active thing that's going on. And again, I'll probably push out some of these things later, but it's nice to know right now if that is what the conflict status is. Okay, so pre-battle. So it is pre-battle. That information down here. But they're like, yep, we avoid that area. Okay, cool. So we got a bunch of cool information from them. Was not expecting to get that from them. At which point, Cristoff thanks them for their time and runs upstairs. We'll put us back where we need to go. There we go. Alright, so Cristoff runs back upstairs. And you know what? He slips out the window. And then he did such a good job last time. He's trained in athletics. I'm not even going to make him roll for it. He's done enough rolls, and he did well enough. So he finds that he slips in upstairs. Slips upstairs. Stairs to the room. And pops out the window. Meet up in the woods. All right, everybody's coming back to Reed. Reed has got everything put together, and he's got this pitch, and he's got put them down in a depression to hide the flames. And once everybody gets back and everybody looks around, right? Well, let's I guess it's time to move on. There's a woods at. That's good. You know what? I might have it in 4. Yeah, let's play. So let's find out. There's no check for that. We did the checks already for taking care of the bodies. They burned the bodies with the notes that they're not keeping. Quick question: do they keep one of the notes? I was thinking they didn't, but that could be useful to have. They did not keep the notes. I was like, if we had a more deception-y based person who wasn't Reed, we could go in and always like get a lay of like other bounty hunters in the area by walking up to any place like Markaheimus and being like, hey, we're looking for the bounty. Have you seen anything? And then people could be like, oh, some guy was just here an hour ago talking about that. But we didn't do that. So, all right, what's everybody's passive con save? Well, 11. 12. 12. 11 or 12. Okay. We spent most of the day here, so I think I'm going to roll 4d4. Okay, so they're at 9. They're going to make one move. And 11, 12. All right, so they make one move during the night as they walk. I guess we should. We're going to zoom in on our map. We're headed out in the dark. We do have lanterns and stuff, so I'm not that worried about it. And we're going to head west. We know which way we're going. We're going to... well, do we want to head to the northwest? Yes, for now we're going to head to the northwest. Let's do a nice 2d6 roll. 8. 10. 2 driver. Man, a lot of 10s. Fine. So this was deep woods. It's going to be light wood. So they move into an area that's a lot more open. We said there's quite a bit of moonlight. I could check the thing, but I don't want to pull it up. Confirm that, but I believe that's where we're at. I think there's quite a bit of moonlight. But we move into an area that's about 50% woods, 50% open space. So it's kind of like mixed wood. Lots of like copses of trees and stuff like that. Copse. You never remember if it's copse or copse. Up the yellow. To notify that that is the dry forest area. We move up into that. At this point, it's late night. Everybody's tired. At this point, we're right at 12, so that means that specifically, I think Cristoff is the only person who will definitely need to roll for exhaustion. So I think to put I think we need to find the coast of Green Lake again. So I think we're going to grab that and then maybe skirt around. So we know that the outflow from Green Lake is to the west of us. We know that. We are trying to put distance between us, and we got to figure out something to do with the mule. We're going to go straight, I feel like. Again, there was a chance that we might come across a point of interest while we were in here. So what I'm going to do is roll for it, and we're going to roll a d20. Really only matters if I roll really low. I don't. I roll the opposite of that. I roll very high. So, point of interest unconfirmed. We're not actively searching. Hey, what's going on, Sans? I just got home from work. What's happening? We are finally moving away from White Birch Inn. We had an ambush that happened, and we were able to take out the ambushers. We got injured a little bit, but otherwise we're okay. Cristoff had another run-in with the Windwalkers. This time it went better. We actually got a bunch of quite a bit of information about points of interest to look out for on the map in the area we're going to that we just finished putting up on the map. And now we have gotten rid of those bodies. Got a little clue about potentially somebody who might be helping track us down with the signed initials on the note FP, telling these bounty hunters to look at White Birch for us for a read. But the bounty hunters are no more, and their corpses are now happily burning in the forest behind us. So we're gonna go one more. I think before we bed down for the night, we're just trying to put miles in between us. Remember that each one of these little hexes is about 2 nautical miles, so 2 miles and some change. So that's roughly somewhere like 4 to 5 kilometers. We're putting a little bit of distance between us. But we are getting late into the night point. We're gonna go one more. And let's roll our 2d6 again. 5. Great. So that means one more burden. Fortunately, burden from that means that we're going to head right into the swamp. We moved down into the swampy area, which our donkeys are going to have a little bit more trouble with, but we were able to like take out the canoe and throw it down and hop into it if we need to. It doesn't help the donkeys, but it helps us. But we're going to get another D4 on top of that, which is probably going to be the stuff that's going to be probably going to push us over. So this can push us to 15. And Cristoff definitely has to make this saving throw. And he fails. So Cristoff grabs the level of exhaustion. And at this point, let's see, do we come across a point of interest? Yeah. Joy. Unconfirmed. Since we're not actively checking, there's always a chance that we might run across a point of interest as we're going through a hex, but we have to roll very, very low on that. So usually with a point of interest, when I'm trying to assign it to a hex, I roll a d6. So if we're just walking through it and not actively looking for it, I roll a d20. We're not taking any actions to do that. So it's the same range where you're looking to pick up things that are like in the 1 to 6 range, but you're rolling a d20 for those results. So 6+ is automatically regardless of where you are. There's nothing there, man. You don't find anything, but it doesn't mean that there isn't anything because you're not actively looking. You're not confirming that. That's why we put unconfirmed. If we ever want to go back in there and actually take the time to search through that area to determine, we will know for certain if there is a point of interest or not. But because Cristoff grabs that first level of exhaustion, and we can go over here. So group leaves White Birch Inn, headed northwest to reach the shore of Green Lake, and follow it to essentially we're going to follow it the outflow. The river outflow. In about 2 hours traveling. And Cristoff will get a level of exhaustion. And usually that is whenever I'm running this either as a solo or for groups when I'm doing this. We drop that in and be like, hey, this is probably the little warning sign to be like, you should probably bed down for the evening. Because you don't want to be because remember, 1 level of exhaustion you can always heal on a long rest. Once you start taking multiple levels of exhaustion, you only heal 1 per long rest. And so you don't really want to be having disadvantage on checks and half movement speed and all that stuff. So it's time to bed down. Wait a minute, I can see my commentary without entering chat. Since there's yeah, I finally figured out how to add the embed in. It doesn't work super great when I have a white background up, but other times it works fine. Start over here. A little bit better. It's still not great. But yes. Yeah, I finally figured out how to embed that into OBS. Go me. Spent the time to figure it out. It's also helpful for me, so I don't have to keep pulling up the page myself to look at what the chat is. It's the best of both worlds. And it shows people whether you're chatting on Twitch or YouTube. Nice. All right, so Cristoff, he gains. He won't get, he gains. So he gained a level of exhaustion. That's not great for us. That's pretty much the time tells us, hey, we should probably bed down for the evening, which we will do. We're gonna make camp. Now, I did say that we ate dinner and we spent the entire day at the inn, pretty much. So I am not going to be concerned with them having to do a rations check this time because we spent the entire day. We spent all that money at the inn. We should at least be able to count the meals, even if we don't get to count the rest. We didn't sleep there, so we paid for a room that we're not going to use, and that sucks. So everybody's going to take a short rest at first, which means that we will. In fact, this is important because there is a chance that we might have something that happens overnight. So Cristoff got injured, so let's roll his hit dice, and he gets a +1. So he'll get 4 back. He's up to 9. Is it worth spending another? We're only going to get 1 hit die back at the end. I don't think so. I think he's going to stay at 9 and just, cross his fingers and hope things go well. Reed will spend the hit die. I should put his up here. Of course, has a singular hit die, which he will spend, because you always get back at least 1. You only get half your level rounded down, or half your level. Is it half your level rounded down? Because it's not rounded up. I think it's half your level rounded down with a minimum of 1 back. I think that's what the rule is. Oh, there's like a 20-second delay. Yeah, it takes a little bit. Because it gets sent to a different place, then gets sent to a different place, then gets sent to a different place. So it takes a minute. Yeah. It's not the fastest thing in the world. That is a little slow. Or maybe you counted it wrong. One of the two. All right, so he's going to spend a hit die. Oh, and his thing went up to... His con went up. Right, so he gets 2. So he's going to get 6 hit points back, which is... His max hit points are 8. And Gertrudt will spend a hit die as well. And she... Why do I have 2 plus? Oh, right. There is a chance she doesn't get her full hit points back, but that's unlikely. Add 2. And she will be back up to full. Now, she still doesn't have her divine aid back, which sucks. But... Alright, so we are going to, lay down. Oh, that's true. We were moving through hexes and I didn't check for random encounters. That's bad on me. Sorry. We haven't been doing the hex crawling thing for a while, so I did not think about, doing the ordering of that. I already spit the hit dice is the thing. Tell you what. They're gonna bed down. All right. Nobody rolled 1. Nobody rolled 1. So I did roll 2 12s. I'm not gonna pull the thing out, but usually, I guess I should. So whoever was going first, we'll just use them in order, and then whoever's going last. So Reed and Gertrudt would have rolled 12s. I don't know how to do this. Yeah. Grab it. Fight with me. Alright. This sheet. I'm looking it up online because it's gonna be real quick. I just want a wilderness. Pressing can be two that we passed through like 2 places already, so I rolled 1 in the early, so the one there and then one. Actually, I rolled 1 too many. Got it. Forest. Really, only one of those would have happened, and that would have been Reed scouting it as they were walking along. So as they walked along, Reed would have come across. So I got pond/lake and or island, and the other one is a hanging tree. None of those are particularly important. He also does not see very well at night. So we'll do that. So, oh, he saw an island, so they found a nice place. That makes sense. So they find an island, and they find a nice place where they can bed down. So it's a nice little high spit of land that's actually dry that they can actually bed down in the forest, or in the swamp in. That's nice. Okay, so they bed down for the swamp and take a long rest. So we're gonna pick these up. This is session 10, by the way. It's not. Morning shall come, and that will be Spring Mother 42. And at this point, we will start dealing with this. Where's my little mouse that can read? And that's why his name Reed. There he is. All right, so we are able to complete our long rest without any issues. And morning will break. We'll go ahead and do be a forced day. Night passes to day. Right? This thing's really freaking out on me today. I don't know what's going on with it. I've had issues with it the entire time. So they're gonna wake up in the morning. This is good. I'm gonna keep going with this. So they are reasonably. It's starting to warm up in the spring now. Still quite a bit of gusting. Definitely gonna be very foggy. And that's gonna be, I think, where we're gonna leave it for this one. They're gonna get up in the morning and start to continue their journey proper. As they move northward, I'm going to fix everybody's hit points real quick and get all their stuff back. And then we'll figure out, I think we finished all the rolls for Reed at this point. I don't think we have any left. Good there. Reed picked up some more gear, which we like. He now has a ranged option. He has his light crossbow as well as a second dagger. Which is fine. Which means technically he could do, right, he can do an offhand attack. I have to go look at, because offhand attacks change a little bit in 5.5, so I have to go. I think I played one who doesn't offhand attack on the regular in 5.5, so I'm going to have to review that again. Got everything there. Gertrudt will get her divine aid back. And that should be everything, as well as her alchemy jug, which we used to make oil to light those bodies on fire. Those are all back now. So they spend a few hours walking away from White Birch Inn and the allure of a feather bed, and find themselves camping rough in this kind of cool swamp. But at least they found a dry piece of land to get on, and they are safe overnight. And the morning breaks through as the mist has rolled in overnight. the heavy dew on all their things. They rub down the animals, get them ready to go in the morning, start packing everything back up. And now on, we are in hex crawl mode. We are fully in hex crawl mode. Now, we have some ideas of what's going on in this area, at least a few ideas now. I'll fill in some of that stuff in between sessions. I think I'm also probably at this point going to go ahead and run in and throw in all our border hexes, just so it's a little bit prettier to look at. I think sometimes people get weirded out looking at the red hexes, not knowing what they are. They don't bother me, but I think they bother some people who look at it, or often people ask questions about them. They're just border hexes. I don't immediately fill them in because they are the type of biome they are is dependent on the hexes around it, larger hexes around it. And I also try not to put points of interest there. So usually I just read them out as being like, hey, don't put stuff here. Because then it's hard to like assign numbers to it because it's technically in a hex that's between 2 or 3 different hexes. So it's hard to notate where specifically in the hex map it is. Because I don't like to use the like rows and column method. But even though we could do that, they're definitely in here. The problem is that if you ever change the size of the hex map, that F's up all your numbering, which is not good. Let's double check, make sure that we don't need to do anything for Reap, but I'm pretty sure we have done everything for Reap. I don't think he's getting anything until we plant our flag somewhere. I think we are done. Yeah, we got all his 3 from the background. He has all his bases, and we said that he only gets to re-roll those ones when he gets a level. But that'll be the next thing. Once he gets level 1, we'll be able to re-roll one of these. We're probably going to go with Dex, hoping he gets a better than 11 Dex. Because he's probably not headed towards heavy armor, based off of his numbers. Unless we decide to play like a cleric or something, which we could do. But, yeah, his stats otherwise not really... Not like a big broody fighter. He's not going to be doing that. So, that can be it for this one. Thanks for watching, guys, whether you started from the beginning late or checking it out. Always fun. Never goes the way I expected to. I thought we would be out of White Birch right after that fight, but hey, the more you do stuff and the more you leave it up to the dice rolls, the more kind of injections of weird things you might not expect. So I wasn't expecting that we would deal with the Wayfinders again, or the Windwalkers again. I didn't think that we'd have the mule aspect. I didn't think that any of that would take that much time, but it did. But things went pretty well. The ambush went better than it, almost as well as it could have. So we did that. Reed got a kill. Everybody got a kill, right? I think everybody got a kill. That. But yeah, that's it. This is always fun. We'll probably drop back in. I don't know if we'll do this next week. We might take a week off and mess around with something else. We'll see. That'll give me a little bit of extra time to fill in some of that stuff on the map. So it will really depend on how far I get that as to whether we're going to do this next Saturday or maybe I'll stream something else next Saturday. But thank you for hanging out with me, guys. It's very fun. If you want to see more of this stuff, there's the whole playlist if you want to watch this from the beginning and see how we got to the point that we got to. We also have a totally other solo RPG playlist if you want to go check out that on YouTube. Also, other stuff in the description if you want to pay what you want, downloads, my own D&D resources, all that kind of stuff. You can go check some of that out. Otherwise, we'll see you real soon. All right? Bye, guys.